to 29. And one person dies from melanoma every hour. It's time. Change your thinking, not your skin. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Okay, now we're here to talk about smoking and smoked fish. We've got Lorianneritter with us, and let me say good morning, Loriann. Join the crowd here. Now you got to keep your hair off your face so we can see what you look like. Loriann runs a smokehouse, and I should say a smoke place. That's not technically a smokehouse because it's a machine, a smoking machine, right? And you've seen that great big thing that looks like a locomotive out in front of on Route 20 on the corner of McKinley Road, where Elwell's has been historically. I think it's been there at least well over half a century. It was a Tasty Freeze, and Mr. Elwell used to run it during the summer, closed in the winter, and he had a Tasty Freeze down in Florida. He went down and he ran that business, and in the spring he came back up. And all of us, the oldsters, remember going with our grandparents down to the Tasty Freeze, and it was quite a place. Now it's a smoking place, and it's called Elwell's. What is it? Elwell's Smoke.
Elwell's Texas Smokehouse.
Texas Smokehouse. And why is it called Texas? It's in New York.
Well, we're trying to do all of Texas-style barbecuing and smoking.
What's the difference between Texas style and other styles?
That's a good question.
Tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Everybody has their own style of smoking, I think, and from where I learned, this is how I was taught, and this is the way that I do it at the restaurant.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of people helping me do that. So.
Who helps you? I met Yvonne over there.
Yep, and Mike, and a few other people come in to help me out. And I definitely don't do it on my own. I couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, well, I go by there all the time and see that big locomotive. What is in that thing? Why is it so big? What's it got?
Well, it was custom built to take on for catering, so we can take it to different places and do catering events if we need to.
Does it have wheels on it?
Oh yes, it's on its own trailer.
You just drive it down the road?
Just drive it right down the road.
Smokehouse drives down the road. How can you beat that? And where'd you get it made?
It was made in Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was custom built in Texas.
I bet that cost $1. What roughly would it cost to replace that? People always want to know dollars and
It's
cents.
a pretty penny.
Pretty penny.
Yeah.
I'd say it probably costs over $5,000 at least.
It does.
Yeah.
It does, definitely.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful gizmo, and I see it has gas. It has wood. You use cherry wood in it.
Yes, I use just cherry wood.
And this is incidentally not an infomercial, friends, but I like to always introduce new businesses in the area, and if you know of a new business, just call me. I'll be happy to talk about it. Now, when you smoke, I've seen some of the smoking contests on television, and they talk about the little band of smoke around the meat. What is that? What's that all about?
Well, when the smoke gets around the meat, that's what gives it that lovely flavor that you have in there. And the smoke is what brings it out, the flavor, and that's why we like to use the cherry wood, because we found that it produces a really, really good quality flavor in the ribs, especially in the ribs.
Now, where do you get cherry wood around here? There aren't too many cherry trees. It's dry.
We have a few different places that we go to get our wood.
I see a lot of wood out there. And I've got to tell you one thing. You have to look at the camera. There's 50 million people out there watching us. So you look at me. You're tempted to look at me. You're actually talking to all those people. And see, the camera changes. That little tally light changes. You got to look at that. Now tell me, how long have you been doing this sort of thing, Loriann?
Oh, this is a new part for me. I haven't been doing this for very long. I've been in the restaurant business for quite a while, but the smoking part, this is something that I've just recently taken over. I've used, smaller smokers before, but never in the capacity in which I have right now.
That giant thing.
It's an amazing little machine, well, a big machine actually.
How much meat can you put in it at a time?
Oh, quite a bit. There's 12 racks in there. Just for the smoking part.
Each rack would take what, 20 pounds or?
Oh, each rack can hold, well, a good 3 to 6 ribs each rack. And our ribs are quite large. They're very large ribs.
No baby back ribs?
No baby back ribs.
Those are the only ones I can handle. But when I do ribs, I fuss. One of the ways I cheat on it is you have to smoke them for, or barbecue them for 4 to 6 hours if you do it right, they tell you. I steam them.
Yeah?
I put the rub on them and then I steam them. And there's always, on the ribs, there's always there are two schools of thought. You take the skin off the back and where the bones are.
You sheen them.
Or you don't, one or the other.
We do.
And I don't. They're the people that say, look, if you take them off, you can get better sauce into the meat. Other people say, wait a minute, the sauce permeates and it comes in from the other side, plenty of it, but the skin keeps the moisture in the ribs. They're more moist. So I'm one of the people that saves a lot of trouble with getting that thing with a towel and pinching it up and then pulling it off the silverback.
No, we do sheen our ribs. We smoke them right from the raw state. We don't pre-cook, pre-bake, pre-boil anything. They go right out there from the raw state, and we cook them until they're completely finished. And it takes usually about close to 2 days to do it.
Holy mackerel, do you rub them, or you put a rub on
Yep,
them?
we put a special rub on the ribs as well, and then once they're out there, every so often we will go out and we will use one of our specific homemade barbecue sauces called Darryl sauce, and that's what we use to keep them nice and moist.
Use a little mop too.
Yep, we got a nice little brush that we use to put the paste, like a pastry brush type thing. Yep.
Well, it's a whole art in itself doing ribs, I must say. 2 days? I've never heard of 2 days.
Yeah.
My God.
Well, we smoke them all day, the first day, and then of course they'll come off at night. And then for the second part of it, we put them back on the next day, and usually by that evening or early afternoon, they're all finished.
That's far beyond which most ribbers will do, but I tell you,
Well, you got to get the best flavor, and that's how you're going to do it. Is to taking them out there from the raw state. It's very important. Low and slow.
Yeah.
Definitely low and slow.
Yeah. Now when somebody does a smokes, they will often put a rub. Tell us what a rub is.
A rub is it's a mixture that you create, and you put it on the meat when it's raw, and you should let it sit and marinate for a while before you put it out in the smoker. And then that helps cure the meat and brings out a really, really good flavor.
What is in a rub? I know there's as many rubs as people probably, but basically what would a rub consist of?
Our rubs, some of the ingredients that we use in our rub is we use some cayenne for a little spice, we use some celery seed, and a few other ingredients, some brown sugar. But there's a few other ingredients in there. Not to give all my secrets away.
As I say, there's many different rubs.
There are, yes.
Rubbers.
And then we have 3 homemade barbecue sauces. One of them is Darryl sauce, which I told you is what we use to rub the ribs with.
What's Darryl? I don't know the term Darryl.
Darryl is the person who introduced the sauce for us.
Oh, okay.
And so we named it after him. Then there's my dad's sauce, which is created by my father. It took him quite a few years to perfect this sauce. It's delicious. My dad's sauce, of course, is my favorite sauce. And then we have Mike's Mix, which was created by Mike. He works there with us. Well, he doesn't. He works there with us. He helps me. He's the one that really is the master of the ribs. He takes care of the smoker, and he rubs all of the meat down, and so he's a big help for me.
He's a pro.
Yes, he is. He does quite a good job.
Okay, now I often see other types of pork products. Pulled pork is very common.
Yes, it is.
Tell us, what is pulled pork?
Pulled pork, we use pork butts or pork shoulders, and they're also smoked out in the smoker with our rub and the sauce. And they take pretty much a whole day to finish cooking those, and then once they're completely finished, we let them cool a little bit, and we hand pull it, and we use one of our barbecue sauces, Darryl sauce, and it gets served on a fresh Texas roll. It's one of our most popular sandwiches.
Now, when you say we, she's talking generically about any barbecue outfit. You understand, this is not an infomercial.
No.
But when someone does pull a pork, you say, how do they pull it? What do they do?
I pull it by hand, and you take the meat and you pull it apart with your hands. And then I mix the special barbecue sauce that we have with it.
Right into it?
Yep, right into it.
Tell me, what cut do you use when you do this pulled pork? What part of the pig?
It's the shoulder or the pork butt for the smoke,
shoulder.
for the pulled pork. Yes.
For the pork butt. That's pretty inexpensive. That's a pretty cheap cut, but there's a lot of bone in it, right?
No, actually, the bone is
Isn't
not
it?
too large.
Not too big?
No, and then, of course, we save the bones for the poochies afterwards.
For the what?
For the poochies,
Oh,
the dogs.
you got dogs, huh? How many
Yeah.
dogs you got?
I have 2.
2 dogs.
Yes.
What kind are they?
I have a pit bull, and that's my boyfriend's. She's a beautiful dog. And then we also have a lab pit bull boxer mix.
That's quite a mix.
It's beautiful.
Where were you raised, Lorianne?
Right here in Westfield, New York.
Yeah, I thought you had sort of a Westfield accent.
Yep,
Yeah,
I moved away for a while. For 18 years I moved away, and then I came back here and was offered to run Elwell's. At the time it was a different name, but when I took it over I renamed it Elwell's, very nostalgic, and brought back a lot of memories for me, so it was important to me to bring back the Elwell's name.
Yeah, well, still Elwell's. May he rest in peace. He's been gone for a long
Yes, he
time
has.
himself. Well, we're talking to Lorianne Ritter, who is the proprietor of Elwell's Texas Smoke. What is it?
Smokehouse.
Smokehouse. Even though it's not a house, it's a locomotive. If you've ever gone down, you can't miss it, Route 20.
You can tell by the smell where we are. You can smell it from a mile away.
Yeah, you can smell it.
Frequently have people drive by and then they will stop, turn around and say, I smelled what's coming out of the smoker, and I just had to come and see what it was all about.
Okay, now if you are you going to stay open in the winter? Well, it's closed in the winter. He said there's just nothing going on here.
Well, that's what my goal is to stay open for the winter time. I would like to give that a shot, and we'd like to introduce a few other items: smoked prime rib, smoked London broil, and we'd like to introduce some fish, some fresh haddock, some New York strip. Yeah.
Where do you get a fresh haddock around here?
Well, you have to.
They don't come out of the lake, you know.
You got to know where to look.
Well, I hope you do some fish. Of course, you know smoked fish is legendary, especially right here. You wouldn't remember, but I remember him well. Pike Monroe, who was ran what is now Irwin's a fishery down in Barcelona, and his son Harry took it over for a while, and then it's moved on down, and now Irwin owns it, and it's a beautiful place. But out back, they have this little tiny shack. It looks like an old, little tiny outhouse. And they hang the fish, whitefish, and they used to catch them. The ships, we had 10 fishing boats going out of Barcelona at one point, and they used to go out and catch whitefish. Whitefish is incidentally a trout. Most people don't know that. It's a member of the trout family. And they hang them up, and they just smoke them and smoke them. They used to use corn cobs. I think they still do at Irwin's.
We use corn cobs.
Yeah, corn cobs make a great smoke.
They do.
And they're a waste product. Nobody knows what to do with corn cobs. Where you smoke with them. That's one of the great things.
Yeah, we do. We use corn cobs to bring out more smoke into the smoker. Definitely.
Well, it's a wonderful warm smoke, and I'll tell you, it's very common. And so well, we used to have them shipped down to Long Island from Harry Monroe. Used to ship them down. I'd come down in a great big box with 50 smoked fish in it, and we'd have a party. We'd call it the Harry Monroe Smoked Fish Party, as a matter of fact. Every year it was an annual event. And everybody brought some fish, some kind of fish they had prepared. And of course, we had all the smoked fish, which everybody just loved. And how can you go wrong? Maybe you'll get into that yourself. Incidentally, Pike Monroe, who had a fishing boat, did a lot of fishing during Prohibition at night. Harry would dash off to Canada and pick up some beverages, we'll put it that way, and the revenuers on him. They were always chasing him around the lake, and he'd dump them. And even today, they tell me once in a while an empty bottle without a label with booze in it floats ashore, kind of rolls up on the shore. We got a call. You want to take a call?
Sure.
Here we go. You're on, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Thank you. Hey, I hear you guys have been talking about smoking and barbecuing and all this kind of stuff. Is there really a difference between the two? Because I know when I was a kid, my grandparents had a smokehouse out back where they would just take and use it as a cure and a preservative.
They were serious, apparently.
Yeah, well, it was back in the Depression time, and they had quite a large family.
Yeah.
So they needed to have enough to get through the winter.
Yeah,
So
I used to do that, but